Hey everybody, it's Rajesh here.
And Tane here.
Welcome to our podcast, Baskets of Knowledge, Chats with a Difference. In our podcast, we invite guests from around the country and around the world to talk about how they got to where they're at the moment. It's about a journey, it's about an experience, it's about their life.
Boom. All right, kia ora koutou, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Baskets of Knowledge. And hey, Tane is back with us. Tane, what's been happening? What have you put into your basket of knowledge since we last spoke?
Yeah, I think the last couple of weeks since I was last being on the podcast, something that I've kind of reflected on, especially this last week, has been the power of curiosity. I think having stepped into the Crusaders Leadership Program and watching a YouTube series where two guys traveled to every continent without any money, it really got me thinking about the power of curiosity. I think it's easy in situations, particularly as we're growing up when we're in school, go to tertiary, you've always got that mindset of curiosity. But I think sometimes you fall in the trap of when you're in the workplace, you get to seek that curiosity, you forget to find that curiosity. So I think something that I've really been reflecting on this last couple of weeks with those two examples has just been the power of curiosity and seeking examples where I can be curious about things that are happening in day-to-day life.
And I love that. I love that because this is why we have the podcast. Our podcast all came from curiosity, and I'm pretty sure our guests today are going to be touching on that as well. Just to give you all the heads up, this is going to be pretty interesting. My lesson for this week, since we last spoke, is I'm doing a training with an organization called Blanchard, and they do a great leadership program. The one thing that really stuck out for me was this quote that they shared, and I'm going to read it out because I don't want to mess it up. And the quote was, "There is nothing more unequal than the equal treatment of unequal people." There's nothing more unequal than the equal treatment of unequal people. I had to stop and I said, what is going on here? But when I broke it right down, it really just blew my mind because it made me think about the times that how many times in our lives collectively do we try and have everyone on the same even playing field when that is not true? Like, when I think about my team that I run and I think about people that I speak to, we try and say, hey, these are the policies. Everyone should abide by the policies, but we don't actually understand that everyone comes from a different lens. And it's really just blown my mind because I don't know if anyone actually really does that properly in the world. We all try, but I don't know if we do. But that's my learning. And for those of you that are listening, hopefully that's blown your mind because it blew my mind when I thought about it. But we're not here to blow your mind. We're here to have our guests blow your minds. Today's guests are people that, full disclosure, we had no idea who they were until a week ago. And this is why it's really exciting when people jump into our podcast that we don't know too much about because we learn about them along the way. But obviously, like every good podcast host, I went and did some research about them and there's a pretty cool story coming up. But how they came into the podcast was through one of our previous guests, Alyssa. And when Alyssa says these are awesome people, we go, Alyssa, if you know they're awesome, we think we're awesome. So without further ado, we're going to welcome to our podcast Adam and Alfie. Good, Adam and Alfie. Welcome to Baskets of Knowledge.
Hey, how's it going?
Beauty. Adam and Alfie, for people who know nothing about who you are and where you're calling them from, who are you today on the 21st of November?
Hi guys, I'm Adam Bone. I am an 18-year-old entrepreneur, you could say. I've just graduated year 13, which is pretty cool. A couple of weeks ago, got a few more exams to do, and then I'm fully out in the world, you could say. I run ZenSha, which is our business, and I also run a production business called Adam Bone Media, which I'll briefly go over at some point today. But other than that, we're based in sunny Nelson. It's lovely, feeling very summery at the moment. And we're at actually the food factory today because we're doing a manufacturing run in about an hour's time. So, yeah.
Sweet. Hey guys, I'm Alfie McNeil. I'm 17. I've just finished high school alongside Adam at Nelson College. I'm also somewhat of an entrepreneur, co-founding ZenSha, and I'm into a few other entrepreneurial things. And keen to chat.
Awesome. Beauty. Thanks, Adam and Alfie. Before we talk about your products, I want to talk about something that's pretty monumental for you both, is finishing high school. How does that feel? You have this journey and then boom, high school's done and dusted. How does it feel for you both?
It feels pretty surreal at this point. I mean, it hasn't really set in, still got an exam or two left, but it's definitely going to hit me pretty hard. I mean, 13 years and then all of a sudden just out in the world. So it's pretty exciting to see what's going to happen next as well.
Yeah. What about you, Adam?
100%. I think the same. Like, graduating, getting that certificate, you're like, bam, this is feeling really real. Like throughout year 13, I think for a lot of people, like attendance wasn't up there,
Yeah,
especially for me. But I feel like the last couple of weeks of school really just hit me, of how much. You're there for different schools, but for 13 years, you're there at school regularly, 5 days a week, and now boom, cut, you're gone. Like it's
such a sudden change.
such a sudden change. But very exciting, very scary, but
Yeah,
also very exciting.
Yeah,
yeah.
Um,
No, I love that. I love the fact that it is scary and it is exciting. And I think I remember when I did that many, many years ago, it was pretty scary and exciting. I'm sure Atana remembers that as well. But also the other cool thing or the exciting thing for you both is you live in Nelson, right? So for you to, whatever happens next in your lives, Nelson's going to be part of you, but you're also going to be having to leave Nelson to do some other crazy cool things. And how does that feel when you go, okay, Nelson is part of us, but also might not be part of us for some part of our lives now? Because you have the choice to not leave if you need to.
I mean, I've definitely loved growing up in Nelson, but I feel I am ready to leave and move somewhere bigger with more opportunities. It was obviously a great place to grow up, but now super keen to expand and just move somewhere new and see where that can take me.
and I
Awesome.
second that. I think it's amazing to have like Nelson is small enough that there's a community here, but big enough that there is a few opportunities out there.
For
But
sure.
Alfie said it's very good to sort of, get out of there in your 20s and actually expand a little bit more into different cities. Yeah, with big opportunities, more people, but really good to sort of have like a childhood here and
Yeah.
grow up. So yeah, real grateful for that.
And that's pretty cool. And what I love about the fact that you've mentioned that it hasn't stopped you from, as you both have said, being entrepreneurial. So being entrepreneurs, is this something that has been part of your your lives, or have you discovered it as you got into high school? And I
I
guess you both have different stories, I guess.
Yeah. I would say I've always been pretty driven as an individual. Um, Always seeking something more. Like I have quite high standards on myself, just as a person. So I think in the last couple of years, I've really just seen that and realized that. Um, I'd say I haven't always been like, yeah, just sort of entrepreneurial, but yeah, definitely the last few years of school, it's definitely been something that I've realized, and just tried to push in and network as much as possible as well, and meeting other people like me, which is quite rare in Nelson, I think. Um, but hence why I started a business with the boys who are sort of the same like mindset as me, got the same motivation, but also can share a bit of humor and have some fun in life as well. But also, yeah, that driven aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. What about Alfie? Similar story or a bit different for you?
I'd say I've always had somewhat of an entrepreneurial mindset. And like Tane was touching on before, I've always been curious about that kind of stuff and just kind of striving for a bit more, not following the traditional path. Whether it was like sneaker reselling in year 9 or like little side hustles along the way. But, in year 13, finally being able to do something that feels very real has kind of, I don't know, sparked it in me again. And it's just great to make an idea something actually tangible, and it's got so many opportunities to see where it can take us. So yeah, I reckon I've always had it in me, but just recently it's really been something that I've been working on, which is great.
Mm.
No, I love it. I love the fact that you have the opportunity, and I'm guessing that's with Young Enterprise. Is that correct?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Young Enterprise Team, we've been doing that this year. We weren't too sure, but then as soon as we did it, we realized it was so great for opportunities because we were going to start the business anyway, and then realized we could opt in to do Young Enterprise, and that has opened so many more doors, and it's been really great helping us along the way to grow the business. And then we've got nationals next month, so that's pretty exciting.
It is very exciting. And you know what's cool is like you said before, the business was there, the idea was there, but jumping onto the young enterprise, you can lean into all the opportunities and all the people because it's just there, ready for you to go and do your stuff, which is really cool. Before we talk about that, Adam, let's talk about your media business. What's that all about, and what do you do in that space there?
Yeah, so I my media business is called Animo Media, and I've been running that for almost 2 years now. And I started that in or late sort of year 11, early year 12, filming high school rugby, interestingly enough. I've always had a passion for the video space in general and cameras, like I'm quite a tech person. Um, and I started filming the high school rugby, posted a little bit on TikTok and Instagram. It got quite a lot of reach. And from there, I had people ask me about paid shoots, and I was like, goodness me, like I'm just getting started, and like so I landed my first shoot at like $50 or something, but like to me that was like crazy. That was amazing. And I guess ever since then, just been doing more shoots, which opened more doors essentially. So I probably did like 10 or 20 shoots in the first like couple months, really low budget. A lot of them were free, but based off that, the networking was so awesome for me. So a couple of clients that I had were barbers, and obviously barbers know everyone. They know a lot of people, especially here in Nelson. It's a great community. That's opened up a lot of doors to bigger clients, which led me to bigger clients. So it's just this sort of like domino effect happening, and I just got tons of clients. Um, and I've kind of just recently shifted from a video production side of things to more video marketing. So I do a lot of social media reels that we run as paid ads for businesses. So a lot of service-based businesses such as like landscaping businesses, construction clients, etc., that we run as ads and organic with the clear goal of getting more leads and sales for their business, which has allowed me to sort of charge higher rates and just be a bit smarter in the way I do things, and actually providing my clients a proper like return on investment. So yeah, that's me. A couple of years in the business. It's been great. I've learned a ton of stuff. I have just been from Queenstown to Auckland as well, doing a bunch of shoots around there for agencies, and a few other people, which has been awesome. More networking opportunities there as well, and it sort of made me realize Nelson's great, but it's a struggle to get anything like budget wise or networking wise. It just really limits your possibilities. It's as I said before, Nelson's great, but it's sort of made me realize in the past sort of 6 months that I do want to sort of expand off now into bigger things. But that's a little insight into my business.
And you know what's cool about that, Adam? The cool thing is that you started without expectations. You just started off because you're having some fun. And a lot of people get caught up in the fact that we're not going to start because it's not perfect or we're not good enough. But like you just demonstrated right now, I just gave it a crack and then somebody saw it and people liked it. So I guess for anyone listening out there, the key message is it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's video editing or whether it is whatever your thing is, just get out and give it a crack because you don't know who's watching.
100%, I agree. And like it's still a passion to me, which is
Yeah.
like I started it again, no expectation of turning it into a business or anything profitable. And 2 years down the track, it's pretty much full time, you could say. So yeah, amazing.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. And now let's talk about your business venture. So let's go back a little bit. So you have this business idea, but where does the business idea come from? And actually, let's tell listeners what you guys are actually doing.
For ZenSha, here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go.
So we obviously took business studies this year at high school, year 13, and Adam, Roman, and I, somehow we just connected. I think we were just like-minded and wanted to do something real. And recently I just had a family trip to Japan and kind of fallen in love with matcha, which is this green tea powder. And then from returning home, I'd been going to the gym lots and I started adding it to my protein shakes. And matcha was a huge thing. It was really on the rise. And so was protein at the time. And it was inconvenient to get high quality matcha and mixing it in your protein shakes. It would get all clumpy. And we just suddenly thought, like, what a great idea. Two industries that are worth billions worldwide. What if we could combine them? And then in business studies, we just looked into it a bit more and just realized what a great idea. And then that was probably maybe March when the idea was born. And from then we just went full steam ahead and we had a product within 2 months and sold out the first few markets and really worked hard on it. And it's been up since then.
That's pretty good. That's so interesting. I mean, from March, it's like November now, and you guys are full steam ahead. But if we go back a little bit, how did you convince the guys that matcha was something to go down? Because I'll go back a little bit. Protein shakes, yeah, 17, 18, let's get those gains, happy days. But matcha is such a specific product, and I'm going to be really gender specific here. It's very gender specific with females, right? Most females like matcha, check it on. If you talk
Yeah.
to guys like, matcha, what are you talking about? And this is just a generic, don't kill me, everybody, but I'm just being very stereotypical here. How did you convince the guys that this might be a good
Uh,
avenue to go down?
So I 100% agree with that. And there definitely was some convincing early stage because I don't think Adam or Roman actually knew what matcha was. And then once they did, obviously realized that it is quite female dominated. And then I think it was more about just educating people. It's like there's no need for it to be female dominated. It's a healthy product. Everyone should be taking it or drinking it. And then also when you tie that in with protein, which you could say is male dominated in some
Mhm.
ways, it's kind of blending the two, which ticks the boxes for everyone because we have noticed when selling the product, females tend to buy it for the matcha and males tend to buy it for the protein, or sometimes the other way around, or sometimes both. But it was quite a good way to tap into the entire market of everyone, you know. But yeah, there definitely was some convincing to, you know, it's quite broad and quite an abstract idea, but we found out that
Yeah.
it works. Everyone does like it.
And I'll tell you a crazy story. So I've been drinking matcha since 2008 was when I was first introduced to
Wow.
matcha. And I still remember taking it. And I'm just 21, guys. But I remember taking it to the office, and my office mate was like, "What the hell is that?" Because it's so different, right? And almost the flavor takes a bit to get used to. And I've been drinking it ever since then, and it's pretty interesting watching how it's grown dramatically. So now I say to my colleague, "Look, I told you I was a leader. I should have been doing some other cool things." But anyway, Adam, what was your first inkling when you first tasted matcha for the first time?
Oh, when did I try? I probably tried it around March when the idea was actually born.
Went too
And
keen, eh?
yeah, wasn't keen at all. Super bitter. I'm not sure if I had a high grade one or
Yeah, you probably had quite a
it was
premium.
pretty high grade, but I just, yeah, not a fan. Aftertaste was horrible. I was like, how are we gonna make this actually taste just nicer in general and something that I would drink? Because I probably wouldn't make a product that I wouldn't drink. Um,
100%, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think like what we've created is something unique and I drink it all the time. Like it's just it just tastes good. And I think like with the protein there as well, like protein tastes nice, but it's nothing compared to like both of them combined, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I think that's the hard thing, right? A lot of protein shakes taste terrible as well. That you have to really find your protein. I know when I have my protein, I stick to a brand, and then when it sells, I'm like, what do I do? Because you're afraid of spending all this money and
Sure.
getting protein that tastes terrible. So how did you? I'm not going to ask you about your trade secrets, but how did you? So how did you guys go around convincing your protein suppliers and also your matcha suppliers that this is something that you want to do, or did you not care about them and just go, this is what we're going to be doing?
We kind of didn't care about them and just
Right.
but we supplied the matcha straight from Japan. So I have some connections in Japan. My brother actually goes to university there, so we managed to go straight to the source and source some high quality matcha. And then we discussed with some farms in New Zealand and managed to get some high quality whey. And then was just like the product development phase kicked off straight away and experimenting. And obviously with Adam not liking the matcha, and I did like it, but we wanted to find a balance, right? So that's why the first product we launched was the vanilla matcha, which we found is tolerable for 99% of people, and it doesn't have that strong bitter flavor. So after experimenting, we managed to get it nice. You still get that slight bit of matcha, and you get the benefits of matcha, but it's also a smooth vanilla protein drink. So yeah.
Awesome. And I guess I'm gonna ask you a question that people assume, I'm gonna assume, but do you want to explain to people why matcha is so awesome?
So matcha is awesome because it's not just another green tea or it's not just another tea. So matcha is the actual entire green tea leaf ground into a powder. So, you know, with normal green tea, you're just getting some of the nutrients because you don't consume the leaf. But with matcha, you're consuming the entire leaf. And matcha is also unique because it's grown in the shade, which makes some chemical thing happen, which just boosts all the nutrients and antioxidants and it's like a superpower. There's so many different health benefits. The list I could go on, but it helps your metabolism. It boosts collagen production. It helps with and it's got a slow release caffeine boost as well. Unlike coffee, which is obviously like a sharp spike, and you know people might have jitters or crash afterwards because it's a green tea. It's supposed to keep you lasted, and it's a slow release caffeine. So there's so many health benefits, and if we could put that in an easy drink with the added protein content, which you know everybody needs protein, and the key is just to make it an easy drink that everyone can have, and yeah, it just ticks all the boxes really.
No, I love that. And so Adam, again, so you were not convinced. When did you get convinced that actually this might be an idea that could fly?
Well, I got convinced probably late March when we started, well, it's late March, early April when we started doing sampling. We went round to Alfie's house and did some sampling, tried some, and boom, I was pretty convinced that this was definitely a drink that we could turn into something pretty booming. So yeah, I think it was around like late March, early April, and I was like, right, we need to put this everywhere.
And I
Yeah.
also think helping Adam see the gap in the market. So obviously, once he realized how big the matcha industry was and the protein industry, is really just a no-brainer because, it's such an awesome opportunity and no one had done it yet. So yeah, we just thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to start something that actually had already good market traction.
Yeah.
And I knew matcha was somewhat booming, but I knew that a lot of people like gym-goers have their one protein brand. So now it was kind of about shifting their perspective and adding tons of social proof to the product to get people to actually be like, oh, this is so much what I'm getting two in one.
Exactly. Like they're just getting protein from their drinks. It's like, why would you not want all these added health benefits and be able to, consume matcha in a way that's enjoyable if you don't usually like it?
And what I'm going to touch on there, which is really cool, was what you mentioned, Adam, is social proof. How did you, so the two of you and your third partner were like, cool, this is amazing. How do you now take that amazingness into the world?
So what we first did is created the product. That was obviously the first step.
Yep.
Had the product, we were going straight to the Nelson market.
Yeah.
And once you see the spot there, it's pretty much repeat stuff. So every single week we're there at the market on Saturday selling. And the good thing about the Nelson market is they have a really high returning customer rate. So there's a lot of traffic going through the market all the time.
Yeah. And you also get tourists and people traveling to Nelson.
Yeah.
And lots of people go to the Nelson market. And obviously, people aren't just going to look at our product and buy it. So straight away, we just offered free samples. And we would do at least 200 samples every Saturday, just getting people to try it. And I would say 98% of people loved it and bought some. We sold out of our first 3 markets, I think. And on top of that, we were sampling it at our school to school staff room, getting our parents, friends to try it, and really just pushing it to get some exposure early and really see if it was going to be viable in the long run as well, right? So that was our key, is getting to market quickly to test if it's actually going to work. So, we had a product within 2 months of having the idea, and then we went straight to market and realized that, yes, this actually has some traction and it could go somewhere.
I love that. And I guess the other question I have for you, so you're 18 and 17 when you have these ideas, maybe a bit younger, depending on your birthdays. How do you then convince a production factory to take you on board and go, actually, hey, this is actually legit, and the packaging and all that other fun stuff there? And I asked that because, obviously here you are coming with ideas. You can't do it from your kitchen anymore because it's scaling up. How did that go? Or do they just go, cool, we see the money, let's go?
Yeah. Um, so with the Young Enterprise scheme here in Nelson, we actually get what's called the Food Factory, which is a commercial kitchen in Nelson, literally built for non-profits and really, really small businesses starting out. So we essentially got a really good deal. They already supply it to other young enterprise businesses in Nelson that are doing a lot of food and productized businesses. So luckily got on with a really good commercial kitchen. But unfortunately, it is actually closing in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Finish the product ourselves.
Yeah.
So we actually make the product ourselves. I don't know if you know that. We do everything from the packaging to the mixing, which was actually quite fun in the early stages. Obviously, we went through different designs and different packaging options, and then got straight in the factory and just, all the gear on and mixing the powders ourselves and sealing all the bags up. So every Friday or every couple of weeks, we come in here and we make big batches together, and it's quite fun. And obviously, that keeps the cost down doing it ourselves rather than outsourcing. But that's something we're looking to do once we get to those big numbers. But obviously, we're going to do this for as long as we can. Yeah.
Yeah, and awesome. And it's such a great segue there because you speak about the passion that you have for it. So you have your business going, you also have your video production going there, Adam, but you've also got school going, and you've also got your social life as young men. How do you balance all that there? Because life is still happening.
It's a really good question. I think for me, just running the video production business and scaling that, it's a lot of late nights and early mornings. But again, I think the biggest thing for me is prioritizing or having my priorities set right in the first place. So family and friends obviously come number one, and then school, and then business, and then other things as well. I guess like calendar, scheduling everything, making everything, fit together as best as possible, making use of your time, but also not sort of shutting yourself in that box of school, business, and also prioritizing other things has been a really key factor for me as a person and not burning out. And I think with like the whole burnout space, I mean, I know people burn out quite a bit, but for me, just having that passion in the business that keeps me going stops me from doing that. And knowing when, I guess, yeah, when's enough? When can you stop? And I guess with the media business, I can pretty much it's uncapped, right? I can
Yep.
do 20 hours, I can do 100 hours a week, like it's pretty much uncapped. So I get to choose when and where, like, I guess I want to do it, which has been really, really handy for me to have. And then with the introduction of ZenSha earlier in the year, just another added sort of, just something that I have to do and have to rely on all the time as well. What about you, Alfie?
I reckon it just comes down to making good use of our time. Like during school, in our free periods, we would all be together grinding on the business or, going to business meetings at lunchtime. And but then again, when the business is fun and obviously you have a passion for it, it doesn't feel like work. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable. So that makes it easy. And with the nature of the business, it's not a 9 to 5. So you have lots of flexibility. You can still hang out with friends on the weekends. We go to the market in the morning and then you've still got the rest of Saturday and then, meetings here and there. So it's very flexible, but you stay busy, but it's definitely still fun while you're doing it.
Oh, I love that because this is real, right? So, everyone just sees the one side, what an awesome business, but you are still humans, you're still young people, and you've got to have a good time as well, while you're young and enjoying yourselves. The name, how did you guys think of the name?
Well, the name, it took us,
Interesting.
I think
Yeah.
a name in a business is something you shouldn't take too long on, but we definitely went back and forth with quite a few different names. And we wanted it to have some sort of meaning, but it actually is quite simple. So Zen is obviously like relaxation. Everybody knows what Zen means. And Sha simply means company in Japanese. So it's just
Oh,
Zen company. We initially were going to do something related to cha, which means tea, but most of those names were already taken by bigger brands. So we came up with ZenSha, and then as soon as we heard it, it stuck, and we put it on the label. Looks great, and then it's just been a hit ever since.
I love it. I love it. Tana, any questions for you that you're pondering about there?
I think something probably more related to your media business, Adam, is how do you work with the social media space, particularly with, I guess, the increase in AI? You see a lot of AI videos, AI tools, and people using that as an outlet. So how do you keep your social media focus authentic to the people that you're helping out with?
Good question. I think for me, for my business specifically, is the whole human aspect. So I work one-on-one with the client to actually build a whole strategy behind it. So it's not just sort of I come in, film a reel, and then I post it. There's a whole pre-production aspect to it. And I think like with the increase of AI, yes, a lot of the stuff that we do um, is going to get affected by AI, and I've already seen a lot of it. But again, businesses just want something that's easy, that's simple, and if you provide a proper, again, return on investment for them, they're never going to just replace you by AI like that. And I think there's parts to it, yes, that can get replaced quite easily. All the copywriting aspect, all the text, a lot of our ads and optimizations can be easily automated by AI. But I think all the video aspect and the whole brains behind it are gonna, yeah, it isn't gonna get affected as likely.
The world
Anything
of
else
fair,
on that one?
the world of fair is pretty crazy, right? It's pretty crazy. It's coming, but hey, you've got ZenSha, which is pretty amazing. And what I love what I love about ZenSha is it's everybody requires. People have coffee or protein shakes or tea or whatever it is. So it's a pretty awesome product. And just before we started recording, you spoke about going to the regulated markets. How did that feel when you were away from Nelson now and started taking your product out of Nelson?
Yeah, no, that was it was amazing. I mean, I actually drove down, the boys were flying down because I had to put all the stuff. So my car was just full of all our tables and all of that stuff for the stalls. That was a bit of a struggle in terms of like logistics, but we found that the Rickerton market offered a really good back end system. We knew exactly where we were. We set up, and it was, yeah, it was an amazing day. We had a lot of fresh traffic coming in compared to the Nelson market, and just consistent sort of samples going out.
It was definitely a good test to take the product to another city because, what if it's just Nelson that likes it? You kind of want to expand and make sure that it actually does work. And also, as far as exposure, we talked to hundreds of people. So it was a great test and it definitely was a success. It was way bigger and busier than the Nelson market. So we spoke to so many people and we sold a good few bags. So it was definitely a success and great, great networking. And just great to get the product down there as well because people talk and people will want to buy more. So it was really good to expand our customer base and just get some more exposure.
Oh, very cool. So you mentioned that vanilla is a product, but I've also noticed that strawberry is the other one. How did you decide to choose strawberry? And ask that in the context of every single protein powder out there is either vanilla or chocolate. Yeah, how did you? Yeah, just a random question.
So, yeah. So you mentioned protein powder there, vanilla chocolate, but if you know much about matcha, it's usually matcha strawberry is
Yeah,
one of the most popular flavors. So we've kind of leaned to that side, and we know it's a super popular flavor, and especially coming into summer, having a berry flavor, and obviously more trialing and product development, we just love the taste, and we thought it would be a great addition to the product line. And we've got a few more ideas as well of future flavors. But no, super happy with that new product, and people have been loving it.
it's pretty cool. It falls in line with, I don't know if you follow Kate Catfield, the founder of Moody, and how she's got her summer beer thing, and it's pretty funny because she was on the podcast late last year before she blew up, and she did the same thing as I was just like, oh, summer's coming, so I'm just gonna try this little product, and no, I think you guys launched a winner there, which is really cool. Which is very cool.
Definitely.
But and as you think about it now, so for the two of you, you finished up school, you've got your respective businesses going. What happens next for you? Is university on the horizon for you, or is the business on the horizon for you? And I ask this question just as a reflective question, so listeners out there, don't say you said you were going to go to university and you didn't go to university. This is not about that thing, right?
I'd say we're both still very young, and I think we've got similar mindsets when it comes to next year. It's really just have a crack at all this business stuff and see where we can take it. And if we have the desire to go to university, we can, but there's no rush for that. We've obviously got our respective businesses functioning right now, and that's, keeps us busy and can give us an income. So we're gonna, I think, go all in on the businesses and see where that takes us, but not gonna rule out university completely. We visited UC when we went down to Christchurch, and it was a great space. As far as the networking and opportunities and funding, it seemed like a really cool environment. So it's definitely not ruled out, but we're only 17 and 18, so there's no harm in, going all in on businesses for 1 year and seeing where that takes us. And if maybe that doesn't go where we want it to, we can always fall back on university. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, just seeing the impact my media business has had on myself and all my clients as well, and just providing a nice, consistent income for me. It's like I don't actually know what I would do in uni. Like I'd probably do something marketing related or sales related or even business. And I think what I can build in 3 years compared to 3 years with a degree is just more substantial. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, not on the cards for me.
I,
I
I
think
agree with that. Like, we're so business focused, we could go to university and study business, or we
Mhm.
could put all that time and energy into running a business and probably learn
Yeah.
very similar skills. And obviously, you learn so much more when you're doing it. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
and I'm gonna advocate that for you, Bob, because as you both said, universities are awesome if you don't know what you want to do with your life. But the two of you've already got a vision and you've got things going on. And like you both said, you're still pretty young. University is not going anywhere. You might decide after 2 years that flag you need to go to university to upskill in a certain area. But right now, or you've got a goose that's laying some golden eggs. Let's make hay while the sun is shining, which is pretty cool. And I guess the other question I have for you is, as you think about as young people, what is your your family and your final thought about you as you do this year? Because, and I say this because this is not an atypical 17, 18-year-old boy thing, right? Most 17, 18-year males are not doing this year. So as your family look and seeing you doing this, how do they, I mean, obviously they support you, but what are the conversations they're going with in that context there?
I think it's interesting because I think my family and my close friends are the only people who've seen me from day one, right? They've seen everything, all the long hours putting into the business, all the chats, all the networking. Like I often have chats with my dad, just generally about business and life, and because I look up to them a lot. Like they've done, they're 50 and 60, like they're more wise, more knowledgeable, and I think I just rely on them quite a bit for knowledge. So I think like my sister actually goes to uni and my younger sister will probably do the same, but they're fully supportive of the businesses because I think they've seen my drive and my motivation and my fire for that and growing as a person as well into that.
Awesome. Alfie, what about you?
They're definitely very supportive and very involved, and obviously they see it working and they can see the potential and the passion and drive we have for it. So they're completely okay with us, putting all our time and energy into that. And like I said, they've been very involved, helping us out as well with various little things that they have skills that we don't, so they've helped us with little things in the business. And yeah, both of my older brothers go to university as well. And obviously that's quite a traditional path that my parents would maybe want to see me follow, but there's no harm in having a crack at something else. And like you said, university isn't going anywhere. So I think they're just supportive of whatever I want to do if they can see the genuine drive and passion I have for it.
And that's cool because you need people to support you along the way. It could, I mean, it's awesome to have your family there and your friends there, but when you just have someone that believes in you, that makes life so much easier. And also, what I loved about what you said just before, LP, was it's in the doing that you learn, which also goes back to what you
Definitely.
said, Adam, just before about when you're doing the videoing, it was the doing, getting out there and doing things. And I'm gonna circle back to that too, because I think a lot of people that listen to this podcast here don't do the doing, right? You do all the reading. It's a bit like I know how to do. I've read about push-ups, but I've never done a push-up in my life. Or
Yeah.
and this is the big difference, right? So even if you do a push-up and you fall over, cool, at least you've tried. You've taken the video, you've tried the matcha, you liked it, you like it. So I guess, a big thing that I'm gonna from both what you both shared is if you're out there and you listen to the podcast and you don't know what to do, just do one thing and things will happen. But I want to ask you both because I know you've got to get away very soon. And I've just ordered some ZenSha as well, by the way, just saying. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay. What I also want to say is our podcast is called Baskets of Knowledge. And every episode, we invite our guests to share a piece of knowledge to put into our basket. And you've shared some pretty interesting and cool things. But I'm going to invite you both either as young people or business owners or anything in your world that you want to share with our listeners.
I'd say just the importance of consistency. Like I've definitely seen it in my life. Um, if you just stay consistent, you might not see progress in the short term, but once you look back, you can see what you've achieved. Like even for us, we've only been doing ZenSha for about 6 months, and we've been showing up every Saturday, putting in all the work, and then you look back, it's pretty crazy what we've achieved in 6 months of just being consistent.
Mm.
Amazing, amazing. I love that. I'm just gonna cut in there. I think consistency is really key. And like you said before, you might not see it, but over time it does. It reminds me of, if you think about the analogy of a drop on a stone. The drop on the stone every single day creates the hole, not the big flood. So I love that. What a great learning there. Adam,
I think don't underestimate the power of people. And I say that because I often am talking to clients, I'm networking as well with other videographers and business owners and entrepreneurs. And I think the knowledge that I've got from that is just insane compared to anything I've learned online or maybe at school. I just think learning from other people's mistakes is an amazing way to grow into business or in yourself as well. And like also don't listen to every single bit of advice that people say to you as well. I think I've had a lot of times in Adambo media where people have been like, "Oh, do this, do that," film this or change this about your business or this. Like, you are you. And I think that, like, in the business space, people love when you're authentic and unique. And same with ZenSha being New Zealand's first matcha protein. That's very unique, and I think a lot of people love that about business in general. So yeah, that's my little bit of advice. You don't have to take it, of course, but it's always out there.
You don't take it, you lose out. I'm just saying, yeah. Yeah. Before Adam and Alfie become super famous, get that advice and lock it in. Lock it in. One random question. Thank you for that, Adam. And I love that because proximity is power. The people you're around with is going to change the way you think about the world. But also, you don't have to take all that advice. Advice is just advice. It's not a fact. And you can take it or leave it, like you said, just like as you said with your piece of advice, take it or leave it. The one question I have for you both is you mentioned right now that ZenSha is New Zealand's first matcha protein. What about globally? Are there any other people out there that are stealing your ideas?
I think initially we researched and it was very hard to find, a pure matcha protein blend like worldwide. But soon after we created the product, obviously with an idea as good as this, we're not going to be the only ones. So there definitely are a few more globally, but I think what's unique about ours is the fact that we're using pure matcha. Like there are multiple products where it's like green tea flavored or matcha flavoring. We're combining the genuine pure matcha powder with high quality whey. So that's definitely some differentiation for us. But yeah, being New Zealand's first is great and still among the few worldwide. But obviously with an idea this good, people are going to jump onto it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I love that you guys are trailblazers, innovators in this space here. And before we round up and close off, how do people get your awesome product?
Well, you can order it online, or if you're in Nelson, you can come visit us at the market and have a yarn and try a sample.
www.zensha.nz is where you can find us.
Beautiful, and we'll chuck that into the show notes as well, and your socials as well. We'll chuck that on there. And
Zensha.nz on all socials. Check us out.
Beautiful. Any last words before we close up, Tane, Adam, Alfie?
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for having us. It's been great.
No worries. Tane, anything you'd like to add or anything you'd like to say?
No, I guess a massive thank you to both you boys for jumping on. It's cool to see that you're chasing your dreams, chasing your aspirations, and it's a cool idea to see where it's going to go, and we're excited to see your journey.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, for our listeners out there, hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. As I sat here and I was thinking about Adam and Alfie and what they shared, the key things that stand out for me is the fact that it doesn't matter how old you are. If you have an idea, give it a crack. What's the worst that could happen? And the second thing is, we live in a world where we think things are gender associated with like matcha and protein. But I love how Adam and Alfie have shown it doesn't actually matter. If you like a product, you like a product. And go for it. So, like Tanya said, we look forward to seeing how this grows and how it glows as well. Not just grows, but glows as well. And thank you for spending time on our podcast today. And for our listeners, hopefully you picked up some pretty awesome, interesting messages today. And also, you are going to jump onto their website and get your own product off the ZenSha, because I'm pretty sure it gets sold out very quickly once they're out there. And while they've got a good price at the moment as well. And don't forget your 10% discount code so you can get the email marketing system as well, right?
Yes.
Thanks everybody. And until next time, don't forget to keep smiling. Don't forget to put something to your box of knowledge. And like Adam and Alfie said, don't forget to just take action. No action is worse than some action. Until next time, ka kite rori. Bye, everybody. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Baskets of Knowledge.
Yeah, we hope that you found something useful to put into your basket of knowledge. And as we said before, remember to put something little into your baskets of knowledge every week. And as always, feel free to like, comment, and share this podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye.